Last time I filmed a video, as I was editing it, I realized when I was looking at my little monitor thing, everything looked straight, and as I was editing it, it looked so crooked. And I filmed like 5 videos that way, and guess what? They're all going up because I'm not refilming, but it drove me nuts. So again, everything looks lined up. We're gonna do a book haul today. My channel is primarily nail polish and makeup, and even like more makeup than nail polish in the last few years. I have other hobbies, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, just make a second channel. I'm not doing that. So there will be book content every now and then. You know, it's just fun. So I have 3 different, well, 4 really, but 4 different places that I purchased books. I did purchase some books from the Amazon Prime Day deal. They were doing 3 books for the price of 2. And then I also bought a bunch of books at my local used bookstore because I love my local used bookstore. And then I have a few books from thrift books and 1 from a local like resale shop. So I'd love to know what you are reading right now and also what your favorite book of the year has been so far. I don't have an answer for the second part. Well, what I'm reading now will change by the time this video is up. Let's get to it. The first is called The Broken Places. This is from a store in our area that buys trucks from, it's kind of like a localized TJ Maxx. Like they buy trucks from Target, and I mean they've gotten trucks from like Dick's Sporting Goods and places like that for out of season merchandise. And they very rarely get new books, but they happen to have this book. This is called Broken Places by Mia Sheridan. I like the cover. It drew me in. I definitely judge a book by its cover. A lot of the time, I don't even read the back of a book. I'll skim it. But I like to go into a book not knowing a lot about it. The streets of San Francisco aren't as sunny as the city pretends they are. Inspector Lennon Gray has learned this the hard way and is starting to wear on her. When a new case plunges her into the depths of the transient community, Lennon must once again face ugly truths about humanity. Her new partner makes things a little easier, though. Agent Ambrose Mars is charming, innocent somehow despite his own hard years in the field. The combination leaves Lennon fascinated and disturbed at the same time, and she's even more drawn to him for it. As they investigate the hallucinogenic drug that's forcing homeless citizens into bizarre and dangerous role plays, Lennon and Ambrose find their relationship intensified with every new twist. But when these revelations begin to uncover secrets she wasn't... And then the sticker covers the rest. So that was all I needed. It was $3. Hopefully it's not super weird. I've never heard of it, but this is the first one. I ordered 2 from thrift books. I love thrift books. The first is the second book in the Aunties series from Jessie Q. Sutanto. So the first book was called Dial A for Aunties, and I love her writing. She also has 2 books in a kind of cozy mystery series called Vera Wong, and I love those books. They're really funny. They are cozy, but there is language in those, whereas typically cozies don't really have a lot of language in it. So there's some language in those books, but they're so funny. And Jessie is let me read this. She grew up shuttling back and forth between Indonesia, Singapore, and Oxford, and she considers all 3 places her home. Jessie has 42 first cousins and 30 aunties and uncles, many of whom live just down the road. So that's a lot of what her writing is inspired by, and particularly this Aunties series. So I read the first book and I thought it was really funny and sweet, and I can't relate to living in a world with that many people coming and going in your house all the time and everyone knows all of your business about everything. But I just think it's really sweet because even though it's annoying, their family is there for their family, and they're going to do whatever it takes to support their family, and I just think that that's really sweet. So I really like that in both the Vera Wong series and the Dial A for Aunties series so far. Medi Chen has been to countless weddings, but she never imagined how her own would turn out. Now the day has arrived and she can't wait to marry her college sweetheart Nathan. Instead of having Ma and the aunts cater her wedding, Medi wants them to enjoy the day as guests, which I support. I'm not team hire family to do things at events. I don't want to do that. As a compromise, they find the perfect wedding vendors, a Chinese-Indonesian family-run company just like theirs. Medi is hesitant at first, but she hits it off right away with the wedding photographer, Stephanie, who reminds Maddie of herself, down to the unfortunately misspelled name because it's spelled Stephanie instead of Stephanie. Maddie realizes this is where the similarities end, however, when she overhears Stephanie talking about taking out a target. Horrified, Maddie can't believe Stephanie and her family aren't just like their own, they are the family, actual mafia, and they're using Maddie's wedding as a chance to conduct shady business. Her aunties and mother won't let Maddie's wedding ceremony become a murder scene over their dead bodies, and will do whatever it takes to save her special day, even if it means taking on the mafia. So I really enjoyed the first book in this series about it. Again, there is language in this series, but it's very funny, and you can just imagine sort of hilarity ensues. You have 4 Chinese Indonesian sisters running things, getting in everyone's business. They're all fighting with each other, but they're all supporting each other at the same time too. I just really enjoyed it. I'm really excited to read this book because I thoroughly enjoyed the first. The other from Thrift Books is called 2 Parts Sugar, 1 Part Murder by Valerie Burns. Look how cute the cover is. Look at this big baby. And this is a series set in Michigan. In this delectable new cozy mystery series, social media maven Maddie Montgomery, oh my, Maddie Montgomery's perfectly grammable life has come undone, and she's hashtag starting over in a tiny town with one giant problem: a killer on the loose. When Maddie Montgomery's groom is a no-show to their live stream wedding, oh my, it's a disaster that no amount of filtering can fix, but a surprise inheritance offers a chance to regroup and rebrand. As long as Maddie is willing to live in her late great-aunt Octavia's house in New Bison, Michigan for a year, running her bakery and caring for a 250-pound English Mastiff named Baby. Oh, I didn't even know that. He's a big baby. Maddie doesn't bake, and her Louboutins aren't made for walking giant dogs around Lake Michigan, but the locals are friendly and the scenery is beautiful. It is. With help from her aunt's loyal friends, aka the Baker Street Irregulars, Maddie feels ready to tackle any challenge, including Octavia's award-winning cake recipes. That is until New Bison's mayor is fatally stabbed and Maddie's fingerprints are found on the knife. Something strange is going on in New Bison. It seems Aunt Octavia had her suspicions too, but Maddie's going to need a whole lot more than a trending hashtag to save her reputation and her life. I love a cozy mystery. I love a cozy mystery. Okay, this isn't a secret. And this just seemed cute, like kind of a modern cozy mystery. A lot of the characters that I read about in cozies are older characters, which quite frankly I relate to, but this one seemed a little more cool. So that is a series I am also excited to start reading. The first is from Christina Lauren, and this is called Tangle Up in You, and I believe I think there are 4 in this. Yeah, 3 other, it looks like this is the 4th in this meant to be collection, and these are sort of modern retellings of fairy tales, so this is, I'm assuming, inspired by Tangled, based on the long Rapunzel hair and the title. And I do enjoy Christina Lauren's writing, so I really don't know anything about this other than the title looked cute. She has a dream, he has a plan, together they'll take a leap of faith. Ren has never held an iPhone, Googled the answer to a question, or followed a crush on social media. What she has done: read a book or 2 or 3, okay, hundreds, taught herself to paint, and built a working wind power system from scratch. But for all the books she's read, Ren has never found one that can teach a woman raised on a homestead and off the grid for most of her 22 years how to live in the real world. So when she achieves her lifelong dream of attending Corona College, it feels like her life is finally beginning. Fitz has the rest of his life mapped out, graduate from Corona at the top of his class, get his criminal record wiped clean, and pass himself off as the rich, handsome player everyone thinks he is. He's a few short months from checking off step 1 of his plan when Ren Gilden, with her cascading blonde hair and encyclopedic brain, crashes into his life, and for the first time, Fitz's plan is in jeopardy. But a simple assignment in their immunology seminar changes the course of both of their lives, and suddenly they're thrown out of the frying pan and into the fire on a road trip that will lead them in the most unexpected directions. When they're out on the open road, the world somehow shifts, and the unlikely pair realize that maybe the key to dreams they've both been chasing has been sitting next to them the whole time. I love Tangled. I will always say that Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie because that was my favorite as a child. I'm literally still obsessed with that library. But Tangled is my favorite Disney movie. I love Tangled. I love Rapunzel. I love Flynn Rider. I hope that I really like this because it has some big shoes to fill. The Disney Tangled movie is fantastic. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, another one of my favorite like summertime authors. This is one of the few that I haven't read from Emily Henry. Poppy and Alex. Alex and Poppy, they have nothing in common. She's a wild child. He wears khakis. She has insatiable wanderlust. He prefers to stay home with a book. And somehow, ever since a fateful car share home from college many years ago, they're the very best of friends. For most of the year, they live far apart. She's in New York City, and he's in their small hometown. But every summer for a decade, they have taken one glorious week of vacation together. Until 2 years ago, when they ruined everything, they haven't spoken since. Poppy has everything she should want, but she's stuck in a rut. When someone asks when she was last truly happy, she knows without a doubt that it was on that ill-fated final trip with Alex. And so she decides to convince her best friend to take one more vacation together, lay everything on the table, make it all right. Miraculously, he agrees. Now she has a week to fix everything, if only she can get around the one big truth that has always stood quietly in the middle of their seemingly perfect relationship. What could possibly go wrong? I'm going to guess they fall in love. No, that's a curveball. Next we have The Summer Guests by Tess Gerritsen, a thriller. I don't read a lot of thrillers. I like a thriller, but I don't like, I guess, horror or like gories. I don't want that. I also like the cover of this. That looks really cool. When former spy Maggie Bird retired to the seaside hamlet of Purity, Maine, she settled in for a quiet life with breathtaking views. But enemies from her past soon threatened to destroy everything. Maggie survived thanks to her wits and the collective intelligence of the Martini Club, the circle of ex-CIA friends in her cocktail-sipping book club. Their handiwork, however, caught the attention of young police chief Joe Thibodeau. Now Joe and her neighborhood ex-spies have an uneasy alliance. After a teenager vanishes and Maggie's neighbor becomes the prime suspect, she joins the investigation, determined to prove her friend's innocence. But the girl's wealthy family pushes for an arrest. And when the authorities discover a long-dead corpse in the nearby pond, the case becomes doubly complicated, with unthinkable ties to long-buried secrets. As Joe grapples with two unexplained mysteries, the Martini Club races to discover the truth behind shadowy secrets before more lives are lost. That's what we're doing. Next we have Love Light Farm from B.K. Borison. This looks like a Christmas one, so we'll not be reading this anytime soon. A pasture of dead trees, a hostile takeover at the Santa barn by a family of raccoons, and shipments that have mysteriously gone missing. Lovelight Farms is not the magical winter wonderland of Stella Bloom's dreams. In an effort to save the Christmas tree farm she's loved since she was a kid, Stella enters a contest with Instagram famous influencer Evelyn St. James. With the added publicity and the $100,000 cash prize, Stella just might be able to save the farm from its financial woes. There's just one problem. To make the farm seem like a romantic destination for the holidays, she lied on her application and said she owns Lovelight Farms with her boyfriend, only there is no boyfriend. Enter best friend Luca Peters. He just stopped by for some hot chocolate and somehow got a farm and a serious girlfriend in the process. But fake dating his best friend might be the best Christmas present he's ever received. So we've got some fake dating. Next we have one from Lucy Score, The Dead Guy Next Door. A nice normal life, is that too much to ask? For Riley Thorne, it is. Divorced, broke, living with a pack of elderly roommates. And those hallucinations Riley's diligently ignoring, her mom is convinced Riley must be clairvoyant. Just when things seem like they can't get worse, a so hot he should be illegal private investigator shows up on her doorstep looking for the guy next door, who turns up murdered. Investor Nick Santiago doesn't play well with others. Oh, it's going to be grumpy. He's a rebel, a black sheep, a man who prefers a buffet of options to being stuck with the same entree every night, if you catch his drift. Oh. When the pretty, possibly psychic Riley lands at the top of the suspect list for this murder, Nick immediately volunteers to find out who done it. He likes solving mysteries. It has nothing to do with wanting to flex his heroic muscles for Riley. At least that's what he's trying to convince himself. Nick and Riley must join forces to find out who really pulled the trigger, all while keeping a by-the-book, grudge-holding detective at bay and dealing with the gorgeous stranger claiming he's arrived to help Riley hone her psychic gifts. All before the killer decides to turn his sights on Riley. Yeah, I don't know anything about this. It was just, I think this was like actually not part of the buy 3 get 2. It was like 60% off or something. And I said, I mean, yeah, if you're gonna discount a book a lot, I'm gonna buy it. Next we have Everyone on This Train is a Suspect by Benjamin Stevenson. This is the sequel to Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, which I own but haven't read yet. But this was also part of the buy 3 get 2, or buy 3 for the price of 2. My husband and my daughter are running with the dog downstairs. If you hear yelling and squeaking, it's just them playing. I'm Ernest Cunningham. Call me Ern or Ernie. When the Australian Mystery Writers Society invited me to the crime writing festival aboard the Ghan, the famous train to the vast Australian desert, I was hoping for some inspiration for my second book, fiction this time. The program is a real who's who of crime writing royalty. The debut writer, me, the forensic science writer, the blockbuster writer, the legal thriller writer, the literary writer, the psychological suspense writer. But when one of us is murdered, the remaining authors quickly turn into 5 detectives. Together, we should know how to solve a crime or commit one. This just sounded kind of fun. That's actually why I bought the first one. I think I got that at a library sale. It's right here. Pretty sure I bought that at a library sale. And the first Ernest Cunningham mystery is currently being adapted into a major HBO series, so I should probably read the book before the series comes out. It sounded kind of fun. Yes. Then I have 2 historical fiction. The first is The Phoenix Crown by Kate Quinn and Janie Chang. San Francisco, 1906. In a city bustling with newly minted millionaires and scheming upstarts, 2 very different women hope to change their fortunes. Gemma, a golden-haired, silver-voiced soprano whose career desperately needs rekindling, and Sulene, I think. A petite and resolute Chinatown embroideress who is determined to escape an arranged marriage. Their paths cross when they are drawn into the orbit of Henry Thornton, a charming railroad magnate whose extraordinary collection of Chinese antiques includes the fabled Phoenix Crown, a legendary relic of Beijing's fallen summer palace. His patronage offers Gemma and Suling the chance of a lifetime, but their lives are thrown into turmoil when a devastating earthquake rips San Francisco apart and Thornton disappears, leaving behind a mystery reaching further than anyone could have imagined. Until the Phoenix Crown reappears 5 years later as a sumptuous Paris costume ball, drawing Gemma and Suling together in one last desperate quest for justice. So it's like a historical fiction mystery. A lot of the historical fiction I write, yes, I'm an accomplished historical fiction writer, is centered around World War II, which is always great. I love Kristen Harmel, Pam Jenoff. But they're, you know, it's a lot to read. So I like to mix it up. That sounds a little lighter. But we do have one from Kristen Harmel because I do really like her style of writing for historical fiction, and this is called The Paris Daughter. Elise and Juliet, both Americans born in Paris, become fast friends the day they meet in 1939. As the shadow of war creeps across France, they promise to look out for each other, whatever comes. When Elise becomes a target of the German occupation, she has no choice but to flee, leaving her young daughter, Matilda, in her best friend's care. But nowhere is safe in a war, and when a bomb falls on Juliet's bookshop, Juliet's world is destroyed along with it. More than a year later, with the war finally ending, Elise returns to reunite with her daughter, only to find her friend's store reduced to rubble and Juliet nowhere to be found. What happened to Matilda in these last terrible moments? Elise's desperate search leads her to New York, and to Juliet one final fateful time. And then the last group of books are all from my favorite local used bookstore. I bought these books on Amazon, and then I felt really guilty for not supporting my local used bookstore, which I know, like, your local used bookstores, like, all need patronage. All of your local stores do, but bookstores especially. And I love used books. I actually prefer used books. That's not true. I love all books. So my daughter and I went to the store and, you know, a bag full of books and spent like $40. And then while I was there, I noticed that they had a bunch of Agatha Christie books in, and I've mentioned in, I think, a Cozy Books Corner box unboxing that my mom is really into reading some Agatha Christie books lately, and they had a ton of them in. So I asked her if she wanted them, and by the time I got a response, we had left. So we went back, is all I'm saying. and I bought like a couple more books. But then I bought like 38 Agatha Christie books for my mom, so I'm not going to show you all those. There's just like a whole bunch of them. I might have a picture I can insert of our book haul. It was awesome. Some of these were from their dollar clearance rack, and then the others, my point is, I bought these books. My daughter had 3, and then Agatha Christie books this day, and I spent, I think, $80. But that's so many books. Anyway, I love a cozy mystery. The names will never not make me laugh. These are not the first 2 in the series, but that's also the good thing about cozies. You can kind of pick them up wherever. Repetitive enough with the information that they provide that you don't have to start at the beginning. This is called Buffalo West Wing and Executive Orders. Come on. And this is the White House Chef Mystery series by Julie Hyzy. Hyzy? H-Y-Z-Y. Hyzy. And I'm not going to read all of the synopsis for these because it's a whole series, but I just thought these, first of all, now I want buffalo chicken dip, and I just can't with these titles. They're so cute. I just thought that was really funny. This one is called Death, Taxes, and Extra Hold Hairspray by Diane Kelly. This is a Tara Holloway novel, and this is also not the first in this series, but the title cracked me up. This is from the dollar section. When you're an agent for the IRS, it's always tax time, and this season, Tara is up to her neck in work with 2 very naughty cases, like a knot. One involves a charismatic minister who's using his megachurch as a tax shelter. Oh my gosh. The other is a crazy militant who's trying to turn Texas into a separate country. With her boyfriend out of town and her partner temporarily reassigned, Tara is on her own and things are getting hairy. Dealing with the Lone Star State isn't enough. Tara has other issues to take into account. There's a sexy new agent named Nick who's got her head in the clouds. And Tara's boss Lou, who's having hair problems of epic proportions. Not even her Chinese contraband industrial strength hairspray is enough to keep her signature strawberry blonde beehive from falling flat. Can Tara help Lou find a wig and keep from wigging out over Nick? Love, updos, taxes. This time Tara's got a whole lot of kinks to iron out. That's hilarious. This was from the dollar section. And then we have this one called A Fright to the Death. This is a family fortune mystery by Dawn Eastman. And I do have the first one in this series. It's called Paul and the Family. And this is also looks kind of like a Christmassy one. But look at the cute little puppy. I also have the first in this series, so I was excited to see the next 2. This is the By the Book Mystery. This is the second one on Spine of Death by Tamara Berry. And then the third one is called Murder by the Books. They have a whole cozy mystery room at this bookstore, and I just like to go in the room and read the titles. And they make me laugh so much. And my daughter does not think they're funny at all. And I just don't understand how. They're just so cheesy. How can you not think this is funny? Executive Orders? Come on. It's so funny. And then we have another historical fiction. This was also from the little dollar section. This is called The Silver Shooter by Erin Lindsay. I mean, look at that baddie. It's the spring of 1887, and Rose Gallagher is finally coming into her own as a detective, working alongside her partner Thomas as an agent of the Special Paranormal Branch of the Pinkerton Agency. Paranormal? Oh. Things are going almost too well, so Rose is hardly surprised when Theodore Roosevelt descends on them like a storm cloud, hiring them for a mysterious job out west. It began with the livestock being torn apart by an unknown predator. Now people are being attacked too. A local prospector has gone missing, and his lost stash of gold is drawing treasure hunters from far and wide, only for them to disappear as well. With tensions mounting and the body count rising, Roosevelt fears a single spark will be all it takes to set the Badlands aflame. It's up to Rose and Thomas to get to the bottom of it, but they're up against the clock, an unknown enemy, and their growing feelings for one another, and the West will prove wilder than they could possibly imagine. So yeah, I didn't realize this was like paranormal. It's not really my thing, but it also just says mystery fiction. So am I wrong in like what paranormal means? Anyway, I like the cover of this one too. This one is called The Pink House by Cindy Kirk. This was another from the dollar section. Hopefully you're okay with me reading all of these, but like I've not read the book, so I don't know what they're about other than the back of the book. Deep in the forest, on a sun-drenched patch of lush green grass, surrounded by lily of the valley, sits a pink house. With turrets towering like neighboring trees. My goal in life is to have a house with turrets. Like, I am so obsessed with them. I mean, are you trying to tell me that that's not incredible? In a wide, welcoming front porch, the old Victorian is impossible to miss, except that everyone in town has. Everyone but Hannah Danbury. It's been a year since Hannah's husband Brian lost his battle with cancer, just days before his 30th birthday. Over and over again, Hannah has been told it's time to move on. Which, like, that's crazy. A year. Like, that's crazy. Trouble is, she's not sure how. When her company downsizes and Hannah finds herself out of work, she moves back home to Gracetown, Maryland. Hannah isn't sure exactly what she's hoping to find in Gracetown, but a mysterious pink house no one but her has ever seen, isn't it? Nor does she expect the woman living in the house, someone unknown yet still familiar to Hannah, to present her with a gift, a handwritten letter from Brian. Who is the woman in the pink house? How did she get the letter? What is Hannah meant to do with all it reveals? Answering these questions will lead Hannah to places and people she never could have imagined. This kind of sounds like a little paranormal too, which, again, not my thing, but... Alright, we have one more from the dollar section. This is called A Shoe Story by Jane L. Rosen. A young woman has 1 month and a closet full of shoes to discover the future she thought she lost in this captivating story of second chances. Esme Nash is eager to leave her small town and begin her carefully planned life. A move to New York City, an apartment with her loving college boyfriend, and a fancy job at an art gallery. But when tragedy strikes, instead of heading to Manhattan, she stays home to care for her ailing father, leaving every bit of her dream behind. 7 years later, Esme is offered a dog-sitting job in Greenwich Village by a mysterious stranger, giving her access to all of her long-buried hopes and dreams, as well as to an epic collection of designer shoes. Esme jumps at the second chance at this future she's sure was meant to be hers. As she retraces her steps, one pair of borrowed shoes at a time, making new friends and reconnecting with her old love, Esme tries on versions of herself she didn't know existed. Hazy August days and warm summer nights pass too quickly, and Esme must decide how much of the life she imagines still fits and what and who is on the road ahead of her. We have one from Kristen Higgins. I 100% bought this because there's a dog on the cover. If this dog dies, I will be furious. Oh, it's called Life and Other Inconveniences by Kristen Higgins. Emma London never thought she had anything in common with her grandmother, Genevieve London. The regal old woman came from wealthy New England stock, but that didn't protect her from life's cruelest blows, the disappearance of her young son, followed by the premature death of her husband. But Genevieve rose from those ashes and built a fashion empire respected the world over, burying her grief in her work, even when it meant neglecting her other son. When Emma's own mother died, her father abandoned her on Genevieve's doorstep. The matriarch took her in and reluctantly raised her until Emma got pregnant her senior year of high school. Genevieve kicked her out with nothing but the clothes on her back, but Emma took with her the most important London possession, the strength not just to survive, but to thrive. And indeed, Emma has built a wonderful life for herself and her teenage daughter, Riley. So what is Emma to do when Genevieve does the one thing Emma never expected of her, and after not speaking to her for nearly 2 decades, calls and asks for help? And if it's to save this little pupper, I would say yes. I'll be right there. Lastly, we have one from Reese Bowen. I love Reese Bowen. I really love her Royal Spiness series, her like cozy mystery series, but she has a lot of other historical fiction and other mystery series as well. The Molly Murphy series is a good one too. And this has been on my wish list for a really long time, and this is called In Farley Field. World War II comes to Farley Place, the ancestral home of Lord Westerham and his 5 daughters, when a soldier with a failed parachute falls to his death on the estate. After his uniform and possessions raise suspicions, MI5 operative and family friend Ben Cresswell is covertly tasked with determining if the man was a German spy. The assignment also offers Ben the chance to be near Lord Westerham's middle daughter Pamela, whom he furtively loves. But Pamela has her own secret. She has taken a job at Bletchley Park, the British code-breaking facility. As Ben follows a trail of spies and traitors, which may include another member of Pamela's family, He discovers some within the realm have an appalling, history-altering agenda. Can he, with Pamela's help, stop them before England falls? If you guys took part in any of the Amazon Prime Day 3 for 2 book deals, let me know what you got. Or better yet, if you've hit up your local used bookstore, what have you gotten from them lately? Hopefully this video isn't actually 45 minutes long because that's what the timer says, and we're gonna have to edit some things out. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you do, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment. I will talk to you in my next video.